Hello friends, welcome to VOWIAS. Welcome to the Prelims test series discussion of Vision IAS, and now we are going to discuss the test 7, and this is part 2 where we will discuss from question number 26. Let us quickly begin. And before we begin, a small information. The document that we are using for the discussion is the summary document of the test series solutions that Vision IAS provides. This summary document is prepared by us, and we try to summarize the entire 40-50 page content in just 10 to 12 pages. This will help in your revision. This will ensure that you cover the maximum content in minimum time. So do make the best use of this, and do let us know your thoughts if you have any queries or any issues. And for subscribing to these summaries, you can visit our Telegram channel, or even you can contact us via the email that is given in the description. Now let us quickly begin. The 26th question is on the labor force or the workforce. So total number of people employed or seeking employment in the country is the labor force. Unemployment rate, if you see, it is nothing but the percentage of the people unemployed among the people in the labor force. That is called as unemployment rate, and that is calculated by unemployed workers by total labor force into 100. That is the formula used. So the number of people who are unemployed by total labor force into 100. Now the worker participation rate, this is calculated by the total workers by total population into 100. This gives us the total participation rate, the workforce participation rate. It is the percentage of total workers that is main and marginal to the total population. This is about the 26th question. Now the 27th question is on nano urea liquid. It is a patented chemical nitrogenous fertilizer developed by the Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperatives. It developed this. It is a nano-based biotech research center at Kalol, and they have developed this nano urea liquid. So they have developed this with the nano nitrogen particles. That is the thing here, because if you know most of the soils in India, they are deficient in nitrogen. So with this, they try to use the research for the development of this urea, which includes nitrogen, which includes this nano nitrogen, so that the soil can be enriched. Now this nano nitrogen, if you see, this nano urea, it is bioavailable to plants because it is desirable, desirable in size, which is about 20 to 50 nanometer, and more surface area, 10,000 times more over the 1 mm urea prill, and number of particles, and which are 55,000 particles over 1 mm urea prill, and it increases the availability to the crop, because when small size nitrogen particles are released, then they will directly be absorbed by the soil very easily, because generally we know that in the air we have nitrogen, about 78% of nitrogen is there, but this nitrogen has to be used by the soil for its growth and for its production. The benefits of nano urea, if you see, it is improved agricultural produce, reduced urea consumption, as it increases the efficiency by about 85 to 90%. There will be decrease in the urea, because most of the urea that we use is import, so there will be decrease in this import, right? And because of this, what will happen is that we will be able to save our foreign exchange currency, and also our current account deficit will reduce. Also because of this, the soil pollution, air pollution, water pollution, this will also reduce, because generally what we are seeing is, because of the excess usage of this urea, the soil is getting polluted, the water bodies around it is getting polluted, because the excess urea is not absorbed by the soil, that is getting released, and that is getting mixed with the water bodies around it. There is no issue of caking on coming into contact with the moisture. So other potential nanotech opportunities in agriculture, if you see, usage of nano formulations of herbicides and other fertilizers, usage of nano sensors to identify diseases and residue of agrochemicals, and for genetic improvement of plants, there will be increase in the nutrition or shelf life. These are the various opportunities and various things. Now the 28th question is on the contractionary fiscal policy. Contractionary fiscal policy is when the government cuts its spending or raise the taxes. When the government cuts its spending or raise the taxes, that is called contractionary fiscal policy. It contracts reduces the amount of money that is available for business and consumers to spend. Contractionary fiscal policy, as the name suggests, it is nothing but contracting the fiscal policy, nothing but reducing the amount of money that is given to other departments and other ministries and other schemes. It involves raising taxes or cutting government spending. It can be two ways, because fiscal policy is contracting means either you can increase the money that is taken from the public, or you can decrease the spending that is done by the government. It can be done in these two ways. So okay, and the potential traits of contractionary fiscal policy, if you see, there will be decrease in expenditure in infrastructure like the buildings, school, hospitals. There will be decrease in the subsidies and pensions. There will be increase in the tax rates. Next, the cash reserve ratio. Cash reserve ratio, if you see, it is nothing but the percentage of cash that is required to be kept in reserves with the RBI. Let's say 100 rupees is the deposit that a bank gets. Out of this 100 rupees, certain portion has to be kept with the bank. Has to be kept with the Reserve Bank, and certain portion has to be kept with itself and with other banks in the form of SLR as suggested by the RBI. So SLR and CRR, these are the two important instruments with which RBI tries to control the money or control the deposits with the banks. So CRR is the percentage of cash required to be kept in reserves vis-a-vis a bank's total deposits with the RBI. The bank do not get any interest on the CRR. The percentage of CRR is decided by the RBI. Unlike the SLR, that is statutory liquidity ratio, which can be maintained with the bank itself in the form of gold or cash or any other instrument as mentioned by the RBI, the CRR has to be maintained only in cash, that too with the RBI. The RBI Act 1934 says that the scheduled commercial banks, which can be both private or public, the foreign banks, the regional rural banks, the cooperative banks, they need to maintain a cash balance on an average with the RBI on a fortnightly basis to cater to the CRR requirement. The NBFC, non-financial banking corporation are outside the purview of this CRR. So this is applicable only to the scheduled commercial banks. Next, the 30th question is on the foreign exchange rate, the forex rate. The rise in the forex rate will lead to increase in the cost of the purchasing of foreign goods. So, rise of forex rate means what is happening? The domestic currency value is decreasing. The domestic currency value is decreasing. That means here what is happening? The number of rupees for each dollar is increasing. Value of domestic currency decreasing means, for example, let's say $1 is equal to 80 rupees. When the rupee falls, then $1 will become 95 rupees or 90 rupees. That is called depreciating rupee, because the value of rupee decreases. When the value decreases, more rupees have to be given against a dollar. Right? Okay, and also parallelly what will happen is, when the forex rate decreases or when the rupee rate decreases, then there will be increase in the exports to some extent, because the number of dollars that a foreign country has to pay for Indian goods will be less. So they will import more from us. So that is the thing about the forex reserve. Now let's look at the next question. 31st question, which is on the consumer price index. We have two important indices, the consumer price index CPI and the WPI, the wholesale price index, and also we have the IIP, the index of industrial production. But CPI and WPI, they are the important instruments for understanding the economy and the inflation. The measure of change in the retail prices of the goods and services consumed by the population group in a given area in a base year, that is called as the consumer price index. It includes prices of goods consumed by the representative customers, hence it includes prices of imported goods. It measures the change in prices, the barometer of inflation, and it is a tool for monitoring the price stability and as a deflator in the national accounts. The DNS allowance of the government employees and the wage contracts is also based on this index. Remember these two, DNS allowance of the government employees and wage contract. These two are dependent on CPI. The CPI is the main measure of inflation. Right. In 2011, the CSO brought out a revised CPI, the CPI urban, CPI rural, and CPI urban plus rural, with 2010 as the base year, and CSO revised the base year of this setup to 2012 in Jan 2015. So 2012 is the base year, and related to that all the things will be measured. Next, the 32nd question is on capital receipts. So capital receipts are nothing but they are the ones that create liability or reduce the financial stress. Capital receipts can be both non-debt or debt capital receipts. So this is the money that the government gets via the capital assets, via the capital, that is called as capital receipts. So these are tax free unless there is a provision to tax them in general. If you see, there are two types, the non-debt creating and debt creating, right? So non-debt creating are the ones which do not incur repayment burden for the government. Example, recovery of loans and advances, disinvestment, issue of bonus shares, etc. But on the other hand, we have debt creating capital receipts, and these are to be paid by the government. 25% of the government expenditure is financed through the borrowing. A reduction in debt receipt big leap for the economic health. Most government capital receipts are debt receipts. Example, market loans, issuance of special securities to the public banks. Now you have the capital receipts, which include loans raised by the government from public called market loans. So the borrowings by the government from RBI and other parties through the sale of treasury bills, the loans received from foreign government and bodies, the disinvestment receipts, recovery of loans from state and UT and other parties, collection and appropriation of direct taxes, which is the part of revenue receipts. So these are the various taxes and various receipts. Next, the 33rd question is on money multiplier. This money multiplier is the ratio of total money supply to the stock of high powered money in the economy. Money supply to the stock of high powered money. Money supply is equal to currency plus deposits. So money supply equal to currency plus deposits, and CDR is nothing but currency by deposits. This is the formula 1 plus CDR into double D, which is nothing but the deposits. High powered money it consists of currency held by the public and reserves of commercial banks, which include the vault cash, bank deposits with the RBI. So this is high powered money. High powered money means the currency held by the public plus the reserves of the commercial banks. This is called as high powered money. Thus the ratio of money supply to high powered money, M by H, that is this is the formula 1 plus CDR by CDR plus RTR. 1 plus currency deposits with the public plus by currency deposits with the public plus the reserve deposits of the bank. The factors affecting money multiplier, if you see, the reserve ratio, that is SLR, CRR, because based on this only the banks will have money, and that money they can decimate for the loan. The banking habits of the population, etc. The reserve deposit ratio is the fraction of total deposit which commercial bank keeps as reserve. Fraction of deposit which commercial bank keeps as reserve is the reserve deposit. Speculative demand is the demand for money as a store of wealth. That is called a speculative demand. And you have the transaction demand, which is the demand for money for transactions. Demand for money for the transactions. Next, 34th question is on the 38th edition of CORPAT. CORPAT is the Coordinated Patrol. India and Indonesian navies conducted this patrol in Andaman and Malacca Strait. So the Strait of Malacca connects the Andaman Sea with the South China Sea. Next, the 35th question is on minor minerals and major minerals. Section 3 of Mines and Mineral Development Regulation Act 1957 talks about minor minerals, which are the building stones, gravels, clay, ordinary sand, and other than the sand used for prescribed purpose, and any other mineral which the government may prescribe. The major minerals are the ones which are specified in appendices to the MMDR Act of 1957. They are agate, asbestos, barytes, bauxite, cadmium, coal, copper, gold, iron, lead, lignite, manganese, nickel, rock phosphate, tungsten, uranium, wolfenite, zinc, etc. The Act does not define major minerals. So whatever is not a minor mineral, it may be treated as major mineral. The classification, if you see, it is nothing to do with the availability of minerals. It is correlated with the relative value of these minerals. It is based more on their end use. Example, sand can be a major or minor mineral depending on where it is used. Right. 36th question is on structural unemployment. Unemployment that can last for many years and can be caused by changes in technology shifting and demographics. Technology shifting and the shifting demographics. That can be the major reason for this structural unemployment. Generally, structural employment means there is wholesome change in the structure of the economy. For example, we are talking about industrial revolution 4.0. That's a wholesome change in the entire structure of the economy. The causes, if you see, shifting in economy, improvements in technology, and workers lacking of these job skills that are required to find them job. So, shifting in economy, improvements in technology, and workers lacking the job skills. Major reasons. Next, the casualization of workforce. Moving from self-employment and salaried employment to casual wage work, that is called as casualization of workforce. The casual workers are are the ones who work for others in the farm or non-farm enterprises and are paid daily wages. Example, the daily wage workers, the contract employees, etc. Not only daily, even periodically also. Okay, and the wage period, if you see, the paid labor, the non-union unionized due to seasonal nature of employment, plus low incomes, and the wage is also unstable, and there will be irregular employment. Sorry, there is this lack of protection from the legislation of the trade unions. And also next is formalization of workforce, means continuous increase in the workforce in the formal sector and decline in the workforce in the informal sector. Next, 38th question is on micro, small and medium enterprises introduced by the Government of India. The micro, small and medium enterprises, if you see, so this is according to the MSME Act of 2006. On the 13th of May 2020, Finance Minister Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman added the principle of turnover with investment in plant and machinery equipment to be used as composite criteria for the classification of MSME. The manufacturing enterprise and enterprise services classified as micro, that means investment in plant and machinery or equipment which is up to a maximum of 1 crore and annual turnover of maximum 5 crore. Small, which is the small industry, which is investment in plant and machinery or equipment, and the maximum amount is 10 crore and annual turnover 50 crore. And medium means the investment in plant, machinery and equipment which is a maximum of 50 crore and annual turnover is maximum of 250 crore. That is called as micro. So this is the basic definition of micro, small and medium enterprises. Next, 39th question is on the Permanent Indus Water Commission. So recently the 118th meeting of this Permanent Indus Water Commission was held. That's why it was in news. It is a communication channel under the Indus Water Treaty for the government to resolve questions about the treaty's implementation. They meet at least once in a year, and the Indus Water Treaty, if you see, it was signed in 1960 by India and Pakistan via World Bank. The water distribution treaty and delimit rights and obligations of both the countries with respect to waters on the Indus River system. And under this Indus Water Treaty, the three rivers Ravi, Beas, Satluj, they belong to India, and Indus, Jhelum, Chenab belong to Pakistan. Next, this 40th question is on the foreign portfolio investors, the FPI. The investors who hold a short-term view of the company in contrast to FDI, that is called as FPI. The FPIs participate through stock market and get in and out of the particular stock at faster frequencies. You have the portfolio investment, which means the investment by any single investor or investor group, and this cannot exceed 10% of the equity of Indian company. That is called as portfolio investment, and this is beyond which, and this is, and if anything beyond this 10%, that is treated as FDI. The FPI, the foreign portfolio investment, is permitted to invest freely in the government securities with a minimum residual maturity of 10 years. Under the new FPI regime, which came on 1st of June 2014, based on the recommendations of Committee of Rationalization of Investment Routes and Monitoring of Foreign Portfolio Investments under the chairmanship of K.M. Chandrasekhar. Next, the 41st question is on the balance of payments. There are two main accounts of this balance of payment, the current and the capital account. The current account deficit must be financed by the capital account surplus, and then there will be this net capital inflow. A country is in BOP, that is the balance of payment equilibrium, when the current account deficit is financed by international lending without reserve movements. Hence, the BOP equilibrium, country's forex reserves remain unchanged. The country could use its forex reserve to balance the balance of payment. The Reserve Bank sells the forex when there is deficit, and official reserve sale will happen, and there will be decrease in the official reserves because of this sale. Next, the categorizing of poverty, the 42nd question. So, churning poverty, which is nothing but regularly moving in and out of poverty, like the small farmers, seasonal workers and all, and the occasionally poor who are rich most of the time but may have a patch of bad luck and they are transient poor. Next, the 43rd question is on monkeypox, which is a viral zoonotic disease caused by monkeypox virus, which is part of orthopox virus genus, includes variola virus and cowpox virus, detected in humans in 1970. It's a self-limiting disease. It lasts for 2 to 4 weeks and may be severe in children, pregnant women or persons with immune suppression. The incubation period is 6 to 13 days and range from 5 to 21 days. The typical symptoms: fever, headache, muscle aches, backache, lack of energy, swollen lymph nodes, and skin rashes or lesions. The swelling of lymph nodes, if you see, that can also be seen in this, and this is a distinctive feature compared to other diseases that appear like the chickenpox or measles. And the transmission and risk of infection, if you see, anyone can get or pass on monkeypox. The carrier remains infectious with symptoms for 2 to 4 weeks, transmitted by close contact with the lesions, body fluids, and contaminant materials like bleeding, clothing, and utensil. Ulcer, lesions, sore in mouth, and through this virus can spread even through saliva. Next, the 44th question is on the soil health card. Soil health card is a printed report card issued to the farmer once in 3 years. Remember this. Soil health card is not issued every year, it is once in 3 years, and it indicates the status of the soil with respect to 12 parameters. It contains the advice on various fertilizer and other soil amendments needed. Existing NPK, the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium consumption ratio in the country is skewed to preferential ratio of 4:2:1. The soil health card allows field-specific detailed report of soil fertility status and ensure balance and application of fertilizer. Because the proper soil health is very, very important for the overall balance and overall maintenance of the agriculture. Promotion of integrated nutrition system is expected to reduce the consumption of chemical fertilizer by 20%, and easing fiscal strain on government fertilizer sector accounts for significant percentage of total subsidies and power consumption in the country. India imports large quantities of various fertilizer to meet the demand. Example, 25 to 30% of urea demand is met through imports. Thus, soil test based fertilizer usage will reduce import bills and will ensure high yield per unit. It can determine the changes in the soil health affected by land management. Next, the 45th question is on hybrid annuity model, the HAM. This was introduced by the government to review the PPP in highway construction. It is a mix of the BOT, build, operate, transfer, which is annuity plus engineering, and there is procurement and construction model EPC, the engineering, procurement and construction model EPC, along with the build, operate model. This is called as HAM, the hybrid annuity model. In this, the government will contribute 40% of the project cost in 5 years via annual payments, and the remaining will be made on the basis of asset and performance. Unlike the build, operate, transfer model, this HAM, there is no toll for developer. The revenue collection would be done by the National Highway Authority. So, it is a mix of two important PPP models, the build, operate, transfer, and EPC, engineer, procure, construction. So, the building, operating, and transferring will be done by the agency, and also the engineering, procurement, and construction also will be done by them. But the only thing is, the money will be given by the government based on the work they are doing. Initially 40% will be given in the 5 years via annual payment. Rest of the money that will be given will be based on the amount of construction that is done. So this will give enough liquidity to the developer, and financial risk is shared by the government, while the private partner continues to bear the construction and maintenance risk in case of the BOT model, and he is actually required to bear even the financial risk. That is the main thing. So here the financial risk is shared by the government, but under this BOT in general, the entire financial risk will go to the developer only. The HAM will be used in case of the stalled projects where other models is not applicable. Next, the patent system, 46th question. So the patent system is governed by the Patents Act 1970. So the amendment by Patents Act 2005 and Patents Rule 2003. The patent, if you see, it's a statutory right for an invention granted for a limited period of time to the patentee by the government. The term of patent is 20 years from the date of filing application. The patent protection, if you see, it is a territorial right. It is effective within the territory of India, and there is no concept of global patent. So patent is limited only to the territory of India. The invention with respect to new product and the process involving inventive steps and capable of industrial application can be patented in India. So Indian patents is different from other country patents, and anything or any new invention, if anything comes in, that has to be invented, that has to be patented even in India as well. Next, 47th question is about the elections for Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha members are elected through single transferable vote via the open ballot. The members of the state legislative assembly vote in Rajya Sabha election in proportional representation with the STV system. Each MLA vote is counted once. So open ballot voting in elections to Council of States. Every political party which has MLAs can appoint and authorize an agent who can verify its members to whom they have voted. The MLAs from political party shall show their ballot papers after marking their vote to authorized agents of the party only and not to unauthorized agents of other parties. Same party cannot appoint as same person cannot be appointed as authorized agent for more than one party. Right. And independent MLAs, they need to insert marked ballot paper in the ballot box without showing the marked ballot to any agent. That is there. Next, 48th question is on neobank. This is a new concept. The neobank is the kind of digital bank without any branches and gives cheaper alternative to the traditional banks. They leverage technology and AI to offer personalized services at minimum cost. They bridge the gap between traditional and new age customers. In India, these firms don't have bank license of their own, but they rely on the bank partners to offer licensed services, as RBI doesn't allow bank to be 100% digital yet. So they rely on the banking partners. RBI remains unwavering in prioritizing the bank's physical presence and spoken about the need for digital banking services, digital banking service providers to have some physical presence too. Right. This is about the neobank. Neobank means a bank without any branches, only the digital presence will be there. So they will use all the new technologies, the artificial intelligence, machine learning and all. The 49th question is on proportional tax or flat tax rate. So what does this mean is the tax rate is equal for all the categories. Currently we have proportional tax. That means the above 5 lakhs will pay one, above 10 lakhs will pay one tax, above 15 lakhs will pay another tax, like that. But in the proportional tax rate, everyone will have the same tax rate. Income tax levies same percentage of tax to everyone regardless of the income. The percentage to the thing is to intend to create a greater equality between the marginal tax rates and average tax paid. It acts as automatic stabilizer, the shock absorber, and it makes disposable income and thus the consumer spending less sensitive to fluctuations in GDP as compared to the progressive taxation. Progressive taxation means taxation increase with respect to the income. So this proportional taxation is an automatic stabilizer. If there are any shocks in the system, that can be absorbed by this flat tax rate easily. Okay, and even the consumer spending can be moderated and everything is less sensitive to fluctuations. Next, the 50th question is on socialist society. Social society is when the government decides what goods are to be produced as per the needs of the society, what to produce, when to produce, and how much to produce. In this socialist society has no private property. Everything is owned by the state. Example, Cuba and China. In capitalist society, the goods produced are distributed on the basis of purchasing power and the ability to buy the goods and services. This is the broad things about the socialist society, capitalist society and all. Okay. So these are the questions for the day. We will meet again tomorrow with the next set of questions and we will revise those as well. Right. If you have any queries, if you have any questions, do leave in the comment box. We will get back to you. So that's it guys for today's session. Thank you and have a good day.